Right. May I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudhapadagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for reading the Mangalacharna prayers. Okay, so now we start the path of perfection. Let's start with the pictures. So here is Panchatattva. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. Plate 1. Did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sit down to meditate? No. When he appeared 5,000 years ago in India, he was always dancing and chanting Hare Krishna. The spirit soul is naturally active. How can we sit down silently and do nothing? It is not possible. No one really wants to sit down and meditate. Why should we? We are meant for positive activity, for recreation, for pleasure. In Krishna consciousness, all recreation is dancing and chanting. And when we get tired, we take prasad, spiritual food. Is dancing difficult? Is chanting difficult? It is natural to enjoy music and dancing and palatable vegetarian foods. These are all recreations, and this is our method of meditation. So this yoga system is not at all laborious. It is simply recreation. Susukham, very happy. It is natural, automatic, and spontaneous. It is so real life in the spiritual world. Ribol. Plate 2. Pleasure is the ultimate goal of yoga. This pleasure is not a solitary affair. Rather, it is experienced as part of the soul's eternal spiritual relationship with the Supreme Soul, Krishna. The yogi seeking to attain this perfectional stage therefore meditates upon Krishna's associates in the spiritual world, the chief of whom is Radha, his eternal consort, and the personification of his spiritual pleasure potency. The name Radha is derived from a Sanskrit word meaning to worship. And perfect yogis follow her example by constantly meditating upon Krishna and dedicating their energies unto him. Plate 3. This, I think, is Paramatma. And here is the yogi.
Yeah, yogi is meditating on Paramatma.
One who has developed love for Krishna sees the Lord always within his heart. At this stage, Lord Krishna never disappears from the sight of the devotee, nor does the devotee ever lose sight of the Lord. In the case of a yogi who sees the Lord as Paramatma, the super soul within the heart, the same applies. Such a yogi turns into a pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord within himself. This is the real process by which we can see God. God is not our order supplier. We cannot demand, come and show yourself. No, we first have to qualify ourselves. Then we can see God at every moment and everywhere. A yogi who is practicing meditation on the super soul sees within himself the plenary portion of Krishna as Vishnu, with 4 hands holding conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. Okay, Haribol, who wants to read next plane?
Hare Krishna. Plate 4. The yogi finds out where Lord Vishnu is seated within his heart, and when he finds this form there, he concentrates on him. The yogi should know that this is Vishnu, not different from Krishna. Krishna, in this form of super soul, is situated in everyone's heart. Furthermore, there is no difference between the innumerable super souls present in the innumerable hearts of living entities. For example, there is only one sun in the sky, but this sun may be reflected in millions of buckets of water. The sun is one, but it is reflected countless times. According to the Vedas, the living entities are innumerable. There is no possibility of counting them. Just as the sun can be reflected in countless buckets of water, Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can live in each and everyone's heart. It is this form on which the yogi concentrates. Page 86 to 87. Plate 5. Purification of consciousness is the purpose of the yoga system. At death, the finer elements of our body, mind, intelligence, and ego, which combined are called consciousness, carry the small particle of spirit soul to another body to suffer or enjoy according to one's work. Page 102. Plate 7. The material world is like a vast ocean of death and suffering, and the living beings floundering. The material world is like a vast ocean of death and suffering, and the living beings floundering in this ocean are all controlled by Durga, the personification of the Supreme Lord's material energy. Durga carries a trident which represents the threefold miseries of life: miseries caused by the mind and body, miseries caused by other living creatures, and miseries caused by the forces of nature. By practicing Bhakti Yoga, pure devotion to Krishna, one can free oneself from Durga's superintendence and return to this spiritual world. Page 6. One's thoughts and actions in one's present life determine the type of body one will receive in one's next life. If one likes to eat meat, one may get the body of a tiger. One who is gluttonous may get the body of a pig. If one takes pleasure in exposing one's body, one may get the body of a tree, which must stand without clothing in all types of weather. Or if one likes to sleep, one may get the body of a bear. Plate 8. Hatha Yoga, when practiced according to the original instructions found in the Vedas of India, has little in common with the watered down yoga systems now taught in the West. The yogi was required to leave his home and retire to the forest, where, seated upon a deerskin mat, he would hold postures and meditate not for 15 minutes or half an hour, but for years on end. He would discipline himself to endure all the physical discomforts caused by the weather, and even when approached by dangerous jungle animals such as the tiger, he would remain fearless. Finally, he had to raise his soul on his life hairs to the top of his skull and cause the soul to leave the body at an astrologically auspicious moment. Today, no one can practice the real Hatha Yoga. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna recommends Bhakti Yoga, which is based on hearing and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Anyone, even a child, can practice this simple, effective yoga system.
Is he going to moon planet? Is that moon?
Yes, bro.
Yes, Prabhu. Here we have a real evidence of an astronaut going to moon. This is the real moon landing picture.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not saying NASA on his body or anything.
Yes, bro.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, you see 1979.
Yes.
Just
bro. Okay, who's next? Libo.
Hare Krishna. When we see a book with a title like The Path of Perfection, we may react with a bit of common skepticism. Oh, another book claiming to give all the answers. One more do-it-yourself enlightenment scheme. And certainly it seems that such skepticism is justified nowadays. Our natural desire for ultimate meaning, happiness, enlightenment, liberation, and salvation has become the most exploited commodity of the 20th century, creating what one contemporary theological termed a disastrous seduction of the spirit. This seduction is indeed the most tragic kind of exploitation, and the unfortunate consequences of this exploitation is a kind of deadening cynicism that discourages our search for self-fulfillment and a means to attain it. The contemporary thoughtful reader, wary of the many speculative simplistic books cluttering the bookstore shelves, offering instant formulas for psychological or spiritual salvation, will find the path of perfection a welcome relief. Herein, one will find a clear, intriguing explanation of the philosophy and practice of mankind's oldest system of spiritual development, yoga. Now, the word yoga may conjure up an image of some skinny fakir contorted like a human pretzel, or perhaps a room full of corpulent matrons in black leotards struggling to stand on their heads in hope of improving their health, losing weight, or increasing their sexual powers. This is not what we mean by yoga. Here we're referring to an ancient philosophy and meditational system that has been practiced by millions throughout the ages. What has in modern times been reduced to a commercially exploited technique of bodily agility and pseudo-meditation was once a comprehensive and easily applied form of self-realization. The Path of Perfection consists of a historic series of talks, elaborations on a previously published commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada on India's greatest spiritual classic, the Bhagavad Gita. In these absorbing talks, Srila Prabhupada explores deeply the philosophy of yoga as explained in the 6th and 8th chapters of the Gita, showing clearly how these timeless teachings apply to 20th century mankind. Srila Prabhupada's talks probe questions concerning the nature of consciousness, techniques of meditation, karma, death, reincarnation, and even spiritual ecstasy. The Bhagavad Gita, described by one contemporary psychologist as a remarkable psychotherapeutic session, appears to us in the form of an extraordinary dialogue between Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his warrior disciple Arjuna. Perplexed and confused about his identity and purpose, Arjuna turns to Krishna, who reveals the path of perfection to his able student. The essence of Lord Krishna's teachings is that one must become a yogi, that is, one whose life is centered on the practice of yoga. And what is yoga? The Sanskrit word yoga literally means union and refers to the union in love between the individual consciousness and the supreme consciousness, the self and the superself, the soul and God. Yoga is indeed the path of perfection because it aims toward this most exalted human attainment. In the Bhagavad Gita, we discover 4 basic varieties of yoga described. Karma yoga refers to the process whereby one performs his work for God without the selfish desire for personal gain. Jnana Yoga is the process of elevation to spiritual consciousness through the cultivation of philosophical knowledge. The Ashtanga Yoga system, of which the modern Hatha Yoga is a watered down version, is a mechanical meditative practice meant to control the mind and senses and focus one's concentration on the Supreme. These three yoga systems culminate in Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of selfless, ecstatic, devotional love of God, Krishna. Lord Krishna himself states in the last verse of chapter 6, "Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshiping me in transcendental love and service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all." In the Path of Perfection, Srila Prabhupada offers a brilliant summary of the methods of Bhakti Yoga, revealing the universal applicability of the simple but all-inclusive form of yoga. He shows how even those who are entangled in the complexity and chaos of modern materialistic life can begin an uncomplicated practice which purifies the mind and puts one in touch with the Supreme Consciousness. Hari Bol. Anyone can continue next. Or I can finish this page. Introduction. This perhaps was Srila Prabhupada's greatest contribution to our age. Srila Prabhupada was an acknowledged master scholar of India's ancient spiritual culture and of its linguistic foundation, the Sanskrit language. But he was not merely a textual scholar or a philosopher or a theologian engaged in the manufacture of interesting philosophical or theological notions. He was a true spiritual genius who succeeded in bringing to life the essence of Indians' universal spiritual wisdom in a form which is easy for 20th century man to understand and practice. This was the unique genius which inspired the late Prime Minister of India, Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri, to declare openly that the writings of Srila Prabhupada are a significant contribution to the salvation of mankind. The transforming quality of Srila Prabhupada's writings was also appreciated by sociologist Alvin H. Powell, who commented on Srila Prabhupada's best-selling edition of the Bhagavad Gita. This transcendental mysticism from the East is now taking root in the countercultures of the West and providing for many a way out of the wilderness of a disintegrating civilization. If truth is what works, there must be a kind of truth in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, since those who follow its teachings display a joyous serenity usually missing in the bleak and strident lives of contemporary people. There you go.
Hare Krishna. Chapter 1. Yoga's action. Okay, let's see. 1 second. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's a tiny chapter, so we can read this chapter. Yoga as action. In the 6th and 8th chapters of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, explains that the eightfold yoga system is as means to control the mind and senses. This method, however, is very difficult for people to perform, especially in this age of Kali, an age characterized by ignorance and chaos. Although this eightfold yoga system is particularly recommended in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord emphasizes that the process of karma yoga action in Krishna consciousness is superior. In this world, everyone acts to maintain his family, and everyone is working with a view to some self-interest or personal sense gratification, be it concentrated or extended. But to act perfectly is to act in Krishna consciousness, and this means acting detached from the fruits of labor. It is our duty to act in Krishna consciousness because we are constitutionally parts and parcels of the Supreme. The parts of the body work for the satisfaction of the entire body, not for the individual parts. The goal is the satisfaction of the complete whole. Similarly, the living entity should act for the satisfaction of the Supreme Whole, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and not for his own personal satisfaction. One who can do this is the perfect sannyasi and the perfect yogi. In the first verse of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the chapter dealing with Sankhya Yoga, Bhagavan Sri Krishna states, Anashrita karma palam karyam karma karoti ya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnirna cha kriya. one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated, is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. Yeah, this was a really nice verse. I had completely forgotten this verse. This is why I need to read Bhagavad Gita, because there's so many nice ones that I know them, but I have forgotten them. And when I hear them again, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And
Yes, bro, same.
this, that not he who lights no fire and performs no work, because this automatically answers to those persons who ask that if I don't do anything, will I get the result or will I get my karma? But this is,
Yeah, this verse is a nice description of who sannyas is.
yes, Pramo. Yeah, that's also true.
I believe it's the very first version, the very first verse of this chapter, maybe the second, because I remember that Vaid Prabhu used to quote a lot these verses to show who is real sannyasi.
Well, yeah, I wish this book had the numbers, so we would
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, now I remember that this book basically expansion of this 6th and 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, Prabhu. Sometimes sannyasis, renunciants, incorrectly think that they have become liberated from all material engagements and therefore no longer have to perform Agnihotra yagnas or fire sacrifices. This is a mistake. Certain yagna sacrifices have to be performed by everyone for purification. Since sannyasis are not traditionally required to perform yagnas, they sometimes think that they can attain liberation by ceasing to perform the ritualistic yagnas. But actually, unless one becomes to the platform of Krishna consciousness, there is no question of liberation. Those sannyasis who cease to perform yagnas are in fact acting out of self-interest, because their goal is to become one with the impersonal Brahman. That is the ultimate goal of the impersonalists, Mayavadis, who have one major goal or demand, to become one with the supreme impersonal being. The devotees have no such demands. They are simply satisfied in serving Krishna for the satisfaction of Krishna. They do not want anything in return. That is the characteristic of pure devotion. It was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who expressed this devotional attitude so succinctly. This is the first time I see this word, succinctly. Like successfully, but succinctly.
What is this?
Wait, what is the definition of succinctly? In a brief and clearly expressed manner.
Succinctly.
Succinctly.
Okay, I know this word, what it means in Russian. Okay.
And this, I think, is like, because these Mayavadis, they see, God as impersonal and some unmeasurable, huge force that is the biggest force and it's impersonal, but they see the force and that force is God. But now we get to know that force is really a person. So I think that is most like, that's so hard to understand and so amazing. I would have never guessed that the power behind everything, that it's a person. I would have never guessed this. I thought always that it's
I always thought it's some kind of light.
Yeah, same. And now it's like Krishna. It's directly said that this is the name, and sometimes I see just some little boy, that this is some boy, but it's hard to realize that this is the one who is the impersonal, like the impersonal force behind everything. So it's sometimes I get these glimpses. but often it is that I just see that it's a little boy, or it's something like this. It's hard to realize that this person, and his name is Krishna, and he's behind all these energies. It's so hard to understand properly, and sometimes the glimpses come of that realization, and then one gets so confused that, like, I'm seeing this name, I'm seeing this person, the pictures, and I'm being explained every day that this is the supreme person, but still sometimes in my mind I see that some invisible power is more like stronger. But then again, the realization comes a little bit that this power is the person. So it's
Yeah, or even if we agree that this is a person, sometimes we're prone to think that he is like us. I mean, he has material body.
yes, Prabhu. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that is the thing. Actually, just like that, the mind.
So hard to realize, although we are reading Srila Prabhupada's books every day.
Yeah, yeah, actually, because the concept is so like there
Yeah,
is
I mean,
so much behind it. Because when you analyze it in detail about this universe, there is so much going on, and there is so much energy, and then you realize that all is one person. It's like, oh, Krishna, yeah, it's really.
I mean, yeah, we've been brainwashed for billions of years. Of course, it's hard to realize.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Well, let's continue. Oh, Sikshastakam. न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. What I want is only the causeless mercy of your devotional service in my life, birth after birth. Sikshastaka 4. In essence, this is the Bhakti Yoga system. There are many examples of the pure devotional attitude. Once Lord Nrsimhadev told Prahlad Maharaj, "My dear boy, you have suffered so much for me. Well, whatever you want, ask for it." Being a pure devotee, Prahlad Maharaj refused to ask for anything. He said, "My dear master, I am not carrying only devotional service to the Lord Krishna, but once again. I am not. I was thinking, how can it go like this? I am not carrying only but it went here. I am not carrying out mercantile business with you. I will not accept any remuneration for my service. This is the pure devotional attitude. Yogis and jnanis are demanding to become one with the Supreme because they have such bitter experience suffering the material pangs. They want to become one with the Lord because they are suffering in separation. A pure devotee, however, does not experience this. Although separate from the Lord, he fully enjoys the service of the Lord in separation. The desire to become one with the impersonal Brahman or to merge with God is certainly greater than any material desires, but this is not without self-interest. Similarly, the mystic yogi who practices the yoga system with half-open eyes, ceasing all material activities, desires some satisfaction for his personal self. Such yogis are desirous of material power, and that is their conception of the perfection of yoga. Actually, this is not the perfection of yoga, but the materialistic process. And I was thinking that maybe these impersonalists, they want to be like impersonal. They don't even want to think that there could be some personal thing controlling everything, because then that would mean, because when I was impersonalist, I was thinking that this God or behind everything, it's a machine that is filled with energy, with some energy. And I was thinking that eventually when we get to know more, we can manipulate that, and then we can, with controlling the creative energy, we can become like God. I was thinking like this, but that is maybe the reason why they don't want to even think about the personal thing, because then they would lose the opportunity to be the supreme controller, or even the idea of that, because then they would know that there is some person who can never lose the control. whatever I do, he will always be higher than me. But if they think that it is impersonal, then they might have an idea that someday they can control that impersonal thing because it is not person and I'm a person. So maybe that's why they don't want to lose or even consider that it could be a person. Because a wise man would consider both and see which is more logical, person or imperson, and then compare. But they just straight say that no, they don't want to even consider it much. The desire, no, we read it. Material problem. If one practices the regulative principles of yoga, he can attain 8 kinds of perfection. He can become lighter than a cotton swab. He can become heavier than a great stone. He can immediately get whatever he likes. Sometimes he can even create a planet. Although rare, such powerful yogis actually exist. Vishwamitra Yogi wanted to beget a man from a palm tree. He was thinking, why should a man have to live so many months within the womb of his mother? Why can't he be produced just like a fruit? Thinking like this. Why he thought like this? Suddenly he was thinking that why can't the man be produced like a fruit? Vishwamitra Yogi produced man like coconuts. Sometimes yogis are so powerful they can perform such acts, but these are all material powers. Ultimately, such yogis are vanquished because they cannot retain these material powers indefinitely. Bhakta yogis are not interested in such powers. Yeah, see, even if they get so huge powers that they can, compared to us, they can do everything and anything. But what they choose to do, producing man like coconuts. is that advancement? If the man comes from womb or a coconut, what is the difference? So they have so much power and they spend it without any just blinded trying things. Like if you go to Minecraft and you get full power to create whatever you want, then they create some houses and like this. The Bhakti Yogi acting in Krishna consciousness works for the satisfaction of the whole without self-interest. A Krishna conscious person does not desire self-satisfaction. Rather, his creation of success is the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is considered the perfect sannyasi and the perfect yogi. A pure devotee does not even want salvation. The salvationist want to be saved from rebirth, and the voidist also want to put an end to our material life. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, requested only devotional service to Lord Krishna, birth after birth. In other words, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was prepared to endure material miseries in one body after another. What then was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire? He wanted to engage in God's service and nothing more, for that is the real perfection of yoga. Whether in the spiritual sky or the material sky, the individual spirit soul is constitutionally the same. It is said that he is 1/10,000th part of the tip of a hair. This means that our position is that of a small particle, but spirit can expand. Just as we develop a material body in the material world, we develop a spiritual body in the spiritual world. In the material world, expansion takes place in contact with matter. In the spiritual world, this expansion is spiritual. So in both, the expansion happens, but yeah, in material world, it happens in matter. So the matter expands, but in spiritual world, there is expansion, but it's totally spiritual. Actually, the first lesson of Bhagavad Gita is, I am spirit soul. I am different from this body. I'm a living force, but this material body is not a living force. It is dull matter, and it is activated only because spirit force is present. In the spiritual world, everything is living force. There is no dead matter. There, the body is totally spiritual. One may compare the spiritual with oil and the body with water. When oil is in water, there is a distinction, and that distinction always remains. In the spiritual sky, there is no question of oil being placed in water. There, everything is spirit. The impersonalists do not want to develop a body. They simply want to remain spiritual particles. I wonder what they are like. They're just meditating in that stage and they're like stagnant. I think they're just floating and they have to keep the constant meditation because if they is it that if they stop the meditation, they instantly return? So it's not like a sleeping state that they are floating comfortably and imagining something in their mind, but they
Yeah,
are.
I mean, yeah, imagine yourself sitting in the room for 1 year and doing completely nothing.
Yes,
I
Prabhu.
mean, and as soon as you uh, getting bored, I mean, and start doing a little bit some kind of action, immediately, I mean, the action started, so you're not in how to say inert stage anymore.
Yes, Prabhu.
So they're like that. So
Yeah.
soon as they get bored and they're about to start to do some actions, they fall down to material world again.
Hmm. Yes, Prabhu. This is actually like a first class airplane that you can fly forever. You can be inside the plane, but you have to be alone. In the plane, no one else can come with you, and you have to fly around the sky. And if you want to stop it and engage with other people, you have to land down with the airplane and get out of the plane and go to the airport and meet the people. But as long as the airplane is in the sky, the person has to be alone, and he just flies it in the first class department. Eventually, yeah, who would like to fly around the sky in that little airplane? They would want to land down at some point.
Actually, there's nice purport where Srila Prabhupada said that there's is some kind of percentage of possibility that this spark from effulgence can go to Vaikuntha planets. I can
Yes,
share
Prabhu.
it.
Yes,
Actually,
meet
I
some
mean,
nice devotee.
there's some possibility.
Yes, Prabhu. Oh, Hare Krishna, Vishnu Prabhu. Oh, he left. Thank you for your association. I couldn't say it.
Yeah, this okay.
Pages we have 1, 2.
4, 23,
There's still
15.
some. Okay, let's read.
Yeah, I shared.
Actually, unfortunately, unless the living entity has information of the spiritual world and the Vaikunthas, there is 99.9% chance of his falling down again into material existence. There is, however, a small chance of being promoted to a spiritual planet from the Brahma effulgence or the Brahma Jyoti.
So,
Yes.
but basically, yeah, I mean, it's impossible to be promoted.
Yeah. Always there is some possibility of meeting
Yeah.
devotee somewhere in some weird way. Actually, the first lesson of Bhagavad Gita is I'm spiritual. Oh, we read this, I think. In the spiritual sky, there's no we read this also. The spiritual body is developed through the practice of Krishna consciousness. This material body is spiritualized by this bhakti yoga process. If you place an iron within fire, the iron becomes so hot that it also becomes fiery. When the iron is red hot, it acquires all the qualities of fire. If you touch something with that iron will act as fire. Similarly, although the body is material, it can become spiritualized through Krishna consciousness and act as a spirit. Although copper is just a metal, as soon as it comes in contact with electricity, it becomes electrified, and if you touch it, you will receive an electric shock. As soon as your body is spiritualized, material activity ceases. Material activity means acting for sense gratification. As you become spiritualized, material demands dwindle until they become nil. How is this possible? In order for an iron to act as fire, it must remain constantly in contact with fire. In order for the material body to become spiritualized, one must remain constantly in Krishna consciousness. When this material body is fully engaged in spiritual activities, it becomes spiritual. According to the Vedic system, the body of a high personality, a sannyasi, is not burnt but buried. Because a sannyasi's body is considered spiritual, having ceased to engage in material activities. If everyone in this world engages fully in Krishna consciousness, and ceases to work for sense gratification, this entire world will immediately become spiritual. Therefore, it is necessary to learn how to work for the satisfaction of Krishna. This requires a little time to understand. If something is used for Krishna's satisfaction, it is spiritual. Since we are using microphones, typewriters, etc., in order to talk and write about Krishna, they become spiritualized. What is the difference between prasad and ordinary food? Some people may say, what is this prasad? We are eating the same food. Why do you call it prasad? It is prasad because it has been offered for Krishna's satisfaction and has become thus spiritualized. In a higher sense, there is no matter at all. Everything is spiritual. Because Krishna is spiritual and matter is one of the energies of Krishna. Matter is also spiritual. Krishna is totally spiritual, and spirit comes from spirit. However, because the living entities are misusing this energy, that is, using it for something other than Krishna's purpose, it becomes materialized, and so we call it matter. The purpose of this Krishna conscious movement is to respiritualize this energy. It is our purpose to respiritualize the whole world, socially and politically. Of course, this may not be possible, but it is our ideal. At least if we individually take up this spiritualization process, our lives become perfect. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that he provides for his devotees by giving them what they lack and preserving what they have. People are fond of saying that God helps those who help themselves, but they do not understand that helping yourself means putting yourself under Krishna's protection. If one thinks, oh, I can help myself, I can protect myself, one is thinking foolishly. As long as my finger is attached to my body, it is useful, and I may spend thousands of dollars to preserve it. But if this finger is cut off, it is useless and is thrown away. Similarly, we are part and parcel of Krishna, and helping ourselves means putting ourselves in a proper position, as his parts and parcels. Otherwise, we are only fit to be cast away. The finger can help itself only when situated properly on the hand and working on behalf of the entire body. If the finger thinks, I will separate myself from this body and simply help myself, that finger will be cast away and will die. As soon as we think, I shall live independently of Krishna, that is our spiritual death. As soon as we engage in Krishna's service as his part and parcels, that is our spiritual life. Therefore, helping oneself means knowing one's actual position and working accordingly. It is not possible to help oneself without knowing one's position. Service means activity. For when we serve someone, we are acting. When we serve Krishna, we are preaching Krishna consciousness or cooking or cleansing the temple or distributing books about Krishna or writing about him or shopping for food stuff to offer him. There are so many ways to serve. Helping Krishna means acting for him, not sitting down in one place and artificially meditating. Krishna consciousness means activity. Whether assets we have should be utilized for Krishna, that is the purpose of Bhakti Yoga. Krishna has given us mind and we must utilize this mind to think of Krishna. We have been given these hands and we must use them to wash the temple or cook for Krishna. We have been given these legs and we should use them to go to the temple of Krishna. We have been given a nose and we should use it to smell the flowers that have been offered to Krishna. Through the process of Bhakti Yoga, we engage all these senses in the service of Krishna, and in this way the senses are spiritualized. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was refusing to act and Krishna was inspiring him to engage in activity. The entire Bhagavad Gita is an inspiration to work, to engage in Krishna consciousness, to act on Krishna's behalf. Krishna never tells Arjuna, my dear friend Arjuna, don't concern yourself with this war. Just sit down and meditate upon me. This is not the message of Bhagavad Gita. We are not to refrain from all activity, but only from those activities that impede our consciousness of Krishna. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activity. Yeah, this is a nice definition for meditation. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activity. Those who are advancing Krishna consciousness are constantly working for Krishna. A mother tells only her bad child to sit down and do nothing. If a child can do nothing but disturb his mother, the mother says, my dear child, just sit down here and keep quiet. But if the child can work nicely, the mother says, my dear child, will you please help me to do this? Will you go over there and do that? Sitting still in one place is just for those who do not know how to work sensibly. As long as the child sits in one place, he does not raise havoc. Sitting still means negating nonsense. It is not possible. It is not positive activity. In negation, there is no life. Positive activities constitute life, and positive activity is the message of Bhagavad Gita. Spiritual life is not don't do this. Spiritual life is do this. In order to act properly, there are certain things that one must know. One must know not to do. Therefore, certain activities are forbidden. The whole Bhagavad Gita, however, is do. Krishna says, fight for me. At the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna told Krishna, I will not fight, Sri Krishna said, Kutastva kashmalam idam vishame samupashtitam anarya yushtamasvargyam akirti karam Arjuna. My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the progressive values of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. Bhagavad Gita 2:2. Krishna directly tells Arjuna that he is speaking like a non-Aryan, that is, like one who does not know the spiritual values of life. So Krishna consciousness does not mean sitting down idly. Okay, 4 more pages. Prabhu, do you want to continue reading?
Pranjal Prabhu, do you want to read?
Haribol, Haribol.
Okay. Krishna himself does not sit down idly. All his pastimes are filled with activity. When we go to the spiritual world, we will see that Krishna is always engaged in dancing, eating, and enjoying. He does not sit down to meditate. Is there any account of the gopis meditating? Did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sit down to meditate? No. He was always dancing and chanting Hare Krishna. The spirit soul is naturally active. How can we sit down silently and do nothing? It is not possible. Yeah, just like we talked before. Therefore, after Sri Krishna outlined the Sankhya Yoga system in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna frankly said, Yomam yogas tvaya proktah samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram. O Madhusudana Krishna, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Bhagavad Gita 6:33. Although Arjuna was highly elevated and was Krishna's intimate friend, he immediately refused to take up this Sankhya Yoga system. In essence, he said, it is not possible for me. How could it have been possible? Arjuna was a warrior, a householder, and he wanted a kingdom. What time did he have for meditation? He flatly refused to practice this type of meditational yoga, saying that the mind is as difficult to control as the wind. Bhagavad Gita 6:34. That is the fact. It is not possible to control the mind artificially. Therefore, we must engage the mind in Krishna consciousness. Then it is controlled. If Arjuna found this process more difficult than controlling the wind, then what of us? After all, Arjuna was not an ordinary man. He was personally talking with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and he proclaimed the mind to be like a great wind. How can we control the wind? We can control the mind only by fixing it on Krishna's lotus feet. That is the perfection of meditation. No one really wants to sit down and meditate. Why should we? We are meant for positive activity, for recreation, for pleasure. In Krishna consciousness, our recreation is dancing and chanting. And when we get tired, we take prasada. Is dancing difficult? Is chanting difficult? We don't charge anything to dance in the temple. If you go to a ballroom, you have to pay to enter, but we do not charge. It is natural to enjoy music and dancing and palatable foods. These are our recreation, and this is our method of meditation. So this yoga system is not at all laborious. It is simply a recreation, susukham. It is stated in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita 9.2 that this yoga is susukham, very happy. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. It is natural, automatic, and spontaneous. It is our real life in the spiritual world. In Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, there is no anxiety. Vaikuntha means freedom from anxiety, and in Vaikuntha, the liberated souls are always dancing, chanting, and taking prasad. Wow, I'm just trying to make a picture in my mind. Wow.
That's true.
There are no factories, hard work, or technical institutions. There is no need for these artificial things. In Vedanta Sutra, it is stated, Anandamaya Vyasat. God is Anandamaya, full of bliss and pleasure. Since we are part and parcel of God, we also possess these same qualities. So the goal of our yoga process is to join with the Supreme Anandamaya Shri Krishna, to join his dance body. Then we will be actually happy. On this earth, we are trying to be happy artificially and are therefore frustrated. Once we are situated in Krishna consciousness, we will revive our original position and become simply joyful. Since our actual nature is Anandamaya, blissful, we are always searching for happiness. In the cities, we are inundated with advertisements. Restaurants, bars, nightclubs, and dance halls are always announcing, come on, here's Ananda, here's pleasure. That is because everyone is searching for Ananda, pleasure. Our Society for Krishna Consciousness is also announcing, here's Ananda, but our standard of pleasure is very different. In any case, the goal, pleasure, is the same. Most people are hunting for pleasure on the gross material platform. The more advanced search for pleasure in speculation, philosophy, poetry, or art. The Bhakti Yogi, however, searches for pleasure on the transcendental platform, and that is his only business. Why are people working so hard all day? They're thinking, tonight I shall enjoy. Tonight I will associate with this girl. Oh man, I believe. Or with my wife. Thus, people are going to so much trouble to acquire a little pleasure. Pleasure is the ultimate goal, but unfortunately, under illusion, people do not know where real pleasure is to be found. Real pleasure exists eternally in the transcendental form of Krishna. Perhaps you have seen pictures of Krishna, and if so, you have noticed that Krishna is always jolly. If you join his society, you will also become jolly. Have you ever seen pictures of Krishna working with a machine? Have you ever seen pictures of Krishna smoking? No. He is by nature full of pleasure, and if you unfold yourself in that way, you will also find pleasure. Pleasure cannot be found artificially. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabhis Tapirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhihi Galoka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, residing in his own realm, Galoka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities in the company of her confidants, Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permitted and utilized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa, Brahma Samhita 537. The word rasa means taste or mellow. We enjoy sweets or candy because of their taste. Everyone is trying to enjoy some taste, and we want to enjoy sex because there is some taste there. That is called adi taste. Material tastes are different because they are tasted and quickly finished. Material tastes last only a few minutes. You may take a piece of candy, taste it, and say, "Oh, that is very nice." But you have to taste another in order to continue the enjoyment. Wow, so nice explanation. Material taste is not unlimited, but real taste is without end. Spiritual taste cannot be forgotten. It goes on increasing. Ananda Buddhi Vardhanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, this taste is always increasing. Spiritual taste is like the ocean in the sense that it is very great. The Pacific Ocean is always tossing, but it is not increasing. By God's order, the ocean does not extend beyond its limit, and if it extends, there is havoc. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that there is another ocean, an ocean of transcendental bliss, an ocean that is always increasing. Ananda Buddhi Vardhanam. Ananda Ananda Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. By chanting Hare Krishna, our pleasure potency increases more and more. One who has realized Sri Krishna is always living in Vrindavana, Vaikuntha. Although a devotee may seem to be living in some place far from Vrindavana, he is always living in Vrindavana because he knows that Krishna is present everywhere, even within the atom. The Supreme Lord is bigger than the biggest and smaller than the smallest. Once we are fully realized and established in Krishna consciousness, we never lose sight of Krishna, and our bliss is always increasing. This is the true yoga system, Bhakti Yoga, as expounded by Lord Shri Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita. Ribo. Yeah, I mean, these books, so nice.
Yes, Prabhu, this was amazing. The candy was amazing. Anal.
Yeah, when I was reading it, I remembered recently I heard a small piece of lecture by Vishnujana Swami, and he explained very similar to this.
Yes,
I
Prabhu.
mean, because I've tried to find some bhajan of him, and I decided to listen to some lectures also. I mean, because I heard from another devotees that although he was always engaged in dancing and chanting, it is not that he was very what is this word? Who takes everything very cheaply. What is this word? Like Sahajis.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, he wasn't like that. I mean, they said that he could give a very philosophical, nice lecture. I mean, he was really realized person.
Yeah.
It is not that he was only chanting and without brains, not at all. So
Yes,
yeah,
Prabhu. He also explained very nicely.
yeah, and so simple. I mean, I was like, wow, I will try to, if I meet some new person someday, I will try to preach like him.
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhu. Yeah, I've also heard those videos. His preaching is really nice.
Yeah.
Garibo, let's read six Astakam prayers. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagnirvapanam shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नामनामकारि बहुधानि च सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रार्पिता नियमितः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहाजनिनानुरागः
Rinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna manina manadena kirtaniya sadahari.
नदनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिर्हैतुकी त्वयि
Ainandatanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam budau kripaya tava pada pankaja sthitatuli sadrasam vichintaya.
नयनं गलदशुद्धारय वदनं गद्गदारुधया गिरा पुलाकैर्निशितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravirshaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me.
आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां पिनष्टु माम् अदर्शनं मर्महदं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पतो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु सैव नापरहम्
Ribo. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names, like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, some considering a moment to be like 12 years or more, tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord unconditionally. Ribo.
Ribo, Sri Siksastakam ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Panchatattva ki jai, Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai, Nidai Gaura Premanand, Hari Hari Bo.